Is it clocking? Okay, it's clocking again. So, this guy, he says this is, it doesn't compute that I've got PTSD, because I'm a young woman. So he says, I want you to see the psychiatrist. So I go in to see the psychiatrist, and I can't remember what he asked me. I think he may have asked me for like events in my life or something. Anyway, so at the end of the session, he just says this very, matter of fact, okay, we'll be scheduling you to go into the hospital, such that we'll be taking blood tests, we'll be putting you on lithium, and we'll be, and I'm sitting here going to myself, right? What? And so I'm like, but I'm sitting there, I'm listening to him, I'm nodding my head, like, yeah, sure, right. And, because it just, it just was, for me, it was the same situation as when Dorothea, I was 14, and Dorothea says, oh, you don't have any food? Oh, you should go down to the welfare office and ask them, they'll give you food stamps. And so I go and sit in the office. It was the same type of thing. I remember. I immediately recognized the situation. So she's, so I'm sitting there in this woman's office trying to get food stamps. I'm 14, right? Because Dorothea, my good neighbor, sent me to do. And the woman sitting there interviewing me, and she says, and she looks up at me and she says, how old are you? I'm like, ah. And I said, I got up, I stood up, right? And I said, thank you, have a nice day, kind of like thing, and I walked out. Right, because I was like already, made up my mind that the adult world, it was fucked. They didn't know what they were doing. I figured that out. They all act like they know what they're doing, but they don't. And if you get in their clutches, you're subject to that. And it's still true today. Nobody's willing to. I don't know where I got the ability to see that very plainly and clearly. They don't know what they're doing. None of them do. Well, I don't say none of them, because the ones who know that that's going on, some of them decide to capitalize on it. But I just wanted out. I surely wanted to stay away from people who were acting like they knew what they were doing. When I knew better. They used to say, I heard about the 60s, that the young people that were rebelling against the establishment were running around saying you can't trust anybody over 35. And I was like, you can't trust anybody over 20. That's how I was running around. If they think they know what's going on, trouble. That surely means trouble. When you don't know what's going on, you've got half a chance. When you admit to yourself you don't know what's going on, that's the state of being a teenager. And so it's not really an age thing. It's, you think you have all the answers, you think you know, and you're going to do it to everybody. You're going to fix everybody. So, here, little girl, let me help you. My life is fucked up. But I'm going to be able to take care of you. Go away. Excuse me, I have to go to the powder room. I think that's where that saying taking a powder comes from. The powder room is the bathroom, okay? So take a powder. It's where you excuse yourself for a moment and you never come back. Ghosting is what they call it now. Taking a powder is what they used to call it. I don't know, is this thing still clocking? I didn't have my glasses on, so. So anyway, Hemingway, Goathead, tell him what the deal is. The deal is sacrifice. So, yeah. Oh, psychiatric diagnoses. So, yeah, so I got up from that psychiatrist's office in my 20s and I took a powder. I ghosted him. Oh, yeah, sure. I'll show up tomorrow morning, first thing in the morning, for all those blood tests and medication and get locked up. Oh, yeah. That sounds really Bonnie. Bonnie, that's another old term, Bonnie. On the Bonnie banks. See, what is the name of that song? I'll take the high road. Is that it? No, that's not it. Wait. I'll be in Scotland before you. My true love will never meet again. Yeah, that is the song. I'll take the high road. Okay. So where was I? Interfacing with the establishment. Interfacing with the establishment. And avoiding problems. Running away. It's all run away, run away. It's from my mind's flashing to that Monty Python movie. They're running away from the bunny rabbit, right? The vicious bunny rabbit. I mean, that's what society's like. It's a big fuzzy bunny. We're going to take care of you. It's really a vicious bunny and sharp pointy teeth. Run away, run away. Run away from the government. 50 ways to leave your governor. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Like a few years ago, I was joking around about being a Buddha, but I mean, really, it is. That's what it is. The goat running around in your belly. I've got all these shitty life. I've got this shitty life with shitty problems that most people would be like ready to, like, toss it all in, right? At my age, if your life looked like mine did, just cash in on the lifespan. But I'm not. I mean, like, I was thinking about it a few days ago, but I thought I would do it the right way, right? So I was thinking the way that I would do it would be like to get involved in organizations that, because did you know, like, it was illegal to commit suicide? Now, what are they going to do? Lock your body up? when it's dead. They have a little problem there enforcing the law on that one. This is our prison, our morgue. We're holding the body here until it deteriorates to a certain extent. Here, here's a nose clip while you tour the facility. I mean, you know what? No, but seriously, like the end of life issue, and everything and all that. It. There's this. There are two movements. One is called the completed life. Like, is a person allowed to say, my life is done? Because I've been saying that for, I don't know, I was just a few weeks ago, I was telling Richard, we were going to pick up my truck that had been stolen and it got recovered. And I was telling Richard, I said, you know what? I've done so much in my life already. I'm ready to go. It's done. It's over with. Because my friend Roger was telling me, oh, I'm 70. This marks the I don't know, whatever, it's a marker for me, and I don't go by clocks and calendars. I'm like a rite of passage person. It's like, I don't go by the numbers. I don't paint by numbers. I'm, freestyle. I look at, like how I feel and what I've been through, and I just say, "Oh God, I've lived at least 5 lives here already. Done. I'm done. I've had such an intense, everything's been so intense and difficult. A lot of intensity, so it's like, I'm done. I told him, I said, if I die, I want y'all to be happy for me, because I'll be like, don't, get all like sad for me, like my life was cut off before it could. No, I went through a lot of crap. No. And, my permission to, like, say, oh, this was a good thing. She's really in a better place. Even nothingness would be a better place. Just absolute nothingness. Okay, so that reminds me of the Buddha, right? The center of the universe. Brings me back to the Buddha thing. So, like, happiness, coming out the other side of it. Things get so bad, they get hysterically funny. And you're sitting there going, oh, that's a manic reaction. No, it's normal. It's normal. It's normal. See, the spiritual world addresses things that the psychiatric community cannot wrap their minds around. It's normal spiritually when a person is, the balance. well, I was going to start talking about the balance between the mental ability and the emotional torment and where it takes you. But when you're getting tormented emotionally, and anyway, never mind. I won't go into that, but it has something to do with that. Interfacing with the psychiatric community. So I ran, right, in my 20s from that. So you're like thinking, oh, you're thinking now what I was thinking. Oh, the poor woman, if she just got treatment, then her life would have been so different. Right? And it would have been so much better. Not. Because later in life, I did come to this conclusion that my problem was that I needed to surrender to the psychiatric community and that my life would get better. But it got worse. It got worse. Okay, like on steroids. It got worse. And, if you're interested in the subject of, psychiatric diagnoses and traditional Western medical approach to addressing these issues, then, I'm going to branch off into that video. But 50 ways to leave your governor. Okay, so, you know, 50 ways to leave your governor. So, in psychiatry and insanity, and let's see if I can think legally about, so you're like, maybe you're caught up in the psychiatric world community, and oh god, I should tell you about this. Okay, so I don't know why but my subconscious is wanting me to talk about this, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about this. So we're fast forward to in the recent past, within the past 7 years, right? So I'm having a conversation with my Aunt Sally, right? Aunt Sally. I really love Aunt Sally, by the way. She's great. Oh God, she was going through so much horrible crap. I certainly wish the best. I don't know what's going on with her right now, but anyway. So I'm talking to her on the phone. And she starts telling me this horror story about, her kid who's my cousin, who's a little younger, And he does have a horror story, and it's about jail, having to go to jail, because, well, anyway, it's a psychiatric story. It is also a psychiatric story. But anyway, so, and again, like a lot of my stories, it's multi-layered, his story. But she's asking me for help. She's asking me for help, and she doesn't know, right? All she knows is that I seem like okay, like I'm like, I'm talking to you right now. I don't seem like there's not pressured speech going on. There's not all these other symptoms, and like I'm stable. But she doesn't know that I'm not taking medication, because I'd made a decision that years earlier, before having this conversation with her, that the meds were not improving my life, and and they were actually causing other illnesses, like they caused diabetes. and symptoms, and I got to do a video on that, listing all of the medications I went through and everything, but, try again. And my conclusions about all that and why I quit taking meds, which was good because then I started working on myself, right? And that's what needs to happen. You've got to go through it. It's not, and a therapist will not be able to help you with this. And again, that's an anti-establishment, anti-cultural, anti-commercial set of videos that I need to get into, and about how they're actually like stifling you from being able to parse out the truth about what is normal, healthy human spiritual development and what is some area you need to be working on, and improving in. And they are completely clueless about this, about how to get out of it, about how to work it out, about how to look at it in a healthy fashion. So, since they don't know where you're going, how can they help you get there? They can't. You'll be in endless sessions, which gets back to the whole thing about the budget and the budget and psychiatric meds and pharmaceutical industry, and we're pissing money down the toilet, in all that. It's not that it isn't legitimate. It is a legitimate suffering that people are going through. But until people realize that they have nothing to offer except to perpetuate your undeveloped state with their meds and their treatments and stuff, and keep you endlessly unless people realize that that's what's going on. There's it's another reason why society's going in the tubes, and why, I mean, if you just look, like, maybe after watching this video, maybe you decide to go look up how much are we spending, how much of the budget, the national budget is being spent on this shit. And nobody's getting better. It's just a wheel, a rat wheel. Okay. And it's actually hurting people because it's keeping them working really hard, never getting anywhere. It's a wheel. It's the treadmill. So anyway, and it's a DIY job because unfortunately, I mean, the whole time I was going through all this shit, there were periods where I was going, oh God, I gotta talk to somebody. I had nobody to talk to. It's like, oh, you need a support community. You don't need a support community. Well, I mean, it would be nice if you had a support community that was willing to talk to you at 3 a.m., at 4 a.m., at 5 a.m., at 7 a.m., at 1 a.m., at 2 a.m., that was spiritually evolved and had been through this. That would be nice, and could say, hey, what you need to do is check this out, But there's not. And so it's like, there's no, there's not. It's a DIY job because very few people I think very few people have evolved spiritually. I mean, if you're watching like Sadhguru, that would probably be good. Alan Watts, or Krishnamurti, or whatever. These spiritual guides, that might help. If you're listening to psychics, that might help. I mean, I know this sounds wackadoodle, right? Oh, she's into wacky new age crap. I'm really conventional, actually. I mean, I'm unconventional but I mean, I understand that I'm not believing, like, I'm not in a fantasy world. Like, it's not like I, I can't or don't or won't see that is radical to society. That hokey pokey thing like card readers and stuff like that have something serious of value to offer. But I'm telling you, they do. Anyway, excuse me. So, the mysterious is real. The mysterious and the magical is really real. I saw this great movie and I keep looking for it on the internet. But I saw it when I was in New York, and and if I give you the name of the movie, you're gonna look it up and you're gonna go, oh, you're gonna think you found it, but what you found is a completely different film. So this one was a foreign film, and the version in English with the same title is all about gangsters, but that's not what this movie was about. And anyway, so it was a foreign film and it was called King of the Gypsies. But of course, I don't remember what the title was or it may have been Italian. I'm not sure, but it was King of the Gypsies, and oh my god. So I'm talking about the mysteries being real. I'm talking about things really being magical. And this movie truly, truly, truly captured that magic, right? And so the movie is about children who grow up in the gypsy community. And horrible stories, beautiful film. Horrible stories, beautiful film. Paradox. Life is a paradox. So anyway, and it's I don't know that the director, I'm talking about the film because you should see it in the context of this, what I'm telling you about the mysteries being real. But the movie, the way I would have described it decades ago, I would have said, well, it's a film about it's a film about gypsy children and their point of view from a child's mind. How they went through all these horrible experiences and how it seemed to them while they were going through this. It was like through the eyes of a child as you're watching the film, right? But I say now, from my point of view now, that seeing the world in that way, in that magical way, is really seeing the real world. Now that's a wackadoodle idea. That's seeing, like a reality, of the. It's like seeing the interdimensionality. It's really existing in the space, in the reality of being human. That reality as we learn it to be when we come out of that stage of the first 7 years of life is a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. I dare say that, actually. It's a lie. And one of the things that's been a reoccurring, like, in my inner, deep inner voice has been saying to me, and may have been my soul, not mission, but my mission statement, is go back to what you were originally. Go, the whole big, like, thing to keep me on track in life, like my inner voice, like if maybe when you're reincarnated, like, I'm thinking, like, maybe you get to keep like a soul mission statement, like a concept with you. You can't, well, some people can access the memories, but most people cannot access previous lives. So it's like, just in case, we're going to give you a really good mission statement, or, like, that's going to constantly resurface in your life to keep you on track. And restoration to what I was the day I was born, okay, what was, has been like, and the worst things would get, it's like trying to restore, right? Trying to restore, bring me back to the point before the trauma, before that trauma. And then I started realizing that even childhood is fraught, even a good childhood is fraught with, some even mild forms of trauma. And that trauma alters, that it alters. I don't want to say, like, positively or negatively, because when you put a saddle on a horse or you hook it up to a buggy, you're altering, you're harnessing, so that you can get something done. However, there's the virtue of the horse being allowed to run wild, right? So if childhood, right, is like putting on the blinders and the bridle and the saddle so you can, run the race, right? The virtue of being the wild horse before you were domesticated, and the freedom to access, right? So I was telling Roger the other day along these same lines. So this was going to be about the psychiatric history, but never mind. Okay, so I was telling him, I'm like, maybe life really is, because we have the internet and everything, we have all this information, we have all these people, becoming spiritually, and we have the restrictions of COVID and that are helping certain things. So, you know, and so I'm thinking, maybe there are a lot more people out there that are achieving, heights of spiritual development, really, more. And this bud's for you. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so, well, I'm not kidding. I mean, but let's carry on. So, so I was telling him, I said, oh, yeah, I'm like beginning to like feel like, real life begins at like 60, and not because you're retired, but because you're learning, maybe. I mean, or I feel like in a way, like my life is beginning. Weird, right? It's beginning. Because I've actually started doing, these videos. I know it's not like a painting or a job, or it's nothing fancy, or it's not finished work, it's not polished, it's not a job, it's very casual, whatever, but it's a beginning of something. I don't know what, but it's a beginning of it's a beginning of my expression of the culmination of my life, thus far. And I'm sure there'll be, like new layers of, but later, later, later. But anyway, I mean, I don't know. Glenn thinks these videos are gonna be so much crap, and it's true, they're not going to appeal to the vast majority of people because I'm so different in my thinking, my perspective. Yeah, so the thing has been like, I don't want to get better. My whole thing was, I don't want to get through this problem. I don't want to get better. I want to be restored to what I was before the trauma. And like I said, eventually that evolved into me thinking about childhood development and the restoration of the soul prior to the damage or restraints or, conflicts and, you know, traumas that aren't even considered traumas from childhood. And I shouldn't call them traumas, really. Like, so it was better to use the analogy about taking the wild horse, putting blinders on them, a saddle, and, running them in a horse race. That's